Well, it's Tuesday, and we are not talking about anything having to do with whiskey or bourbon. We are actually in the Caribbean talking about rum. Hello, everyone. My name is Wayne.
And I'm Rebecca.
And we are your bourbon journey.
Well, as Wayne said, in February, we were in the Caribbean for a lovely 10-day cruise. And when it came to excursions, I pretty much picked that we would be going to distilleries. And our only choice in the Caribbean is rum distilleries. So this particular day, we were in St. Maarten, and we did a little touring before. If you're not familiar with St. Maarten, I had never been there before myself, but I did know it was where Maho Beach is. That's the one you often see in various videos about the airplanes practically touching your head as they come in. So we took a cab to Maho Beach. Got to see the airplanes come in very close to our heads, some big ones, some small ones, and tried to stand up while they were taking off, which was crazy. So that was an experience. Did you have fun with that?
I had a really good time with it. I did not realize how powerful the engines were on jets until that trip, because we were probably 150 yards from where the jets were taking off, and the force of the wind from the jets getting ready to take off almost blew us over.
Yeah.
It was an experience, and it was something I will never forget.
I was really glad we did it, and they had a lovely little bar on the beach too. We had some fun frozen drinks then beforehand, which was terrific. And then, of course, we had an appointment at a rum distillery. So we got in a taxi and headed over there to Coal Beach area. And that's where we went to Topper's Rum Distillery. And so we got there a little early, which is what we do. We're used to having to do that in the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. But in the Caribbean, things are a little more laid back. But then Wayne started wandering around and met someone pretty cool.
I ended up walking around because I get fidgety, and they had a board listing prices of different items for sale. And the very last thing they mentioned was pins for $6. So I walked up to the lady and I said, "Where are the pins for sale?" So she went and got her manager. Her general manager comes over and asks me what I want. And I said, "I'd like to get a pin." I said, "My wife and I do stuff on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, and she has a hat full of pins that represent different distilleries." He goes, "Oh, bourbon. The owner loves bourbon." And he walks off.
Left him stand there.
So a few minutes later, this guy comes out and walks up, introduces himself. He's like, "You guys are into bourbon?" He brings us in the back. We ended up doing a pre-tasting before the tasting for our tour. Rebecca explained some of that, because I ended up tasting and she went into the nerdy type stuff he was doing.
He showed us all around, gave us the history about how 20 years ago they started doing this, and they came to the islands from the States, and they had a restaurant.
Yes.
And as Meredith started playing with infusing rum with various concoctions, like different fruits, different flavors, cakes, and you name it, she was coming up with. She had so many different flavors. He said their whole house was covered in bottles, and they started basically giving it away at the restaurant because they didn't know what else to do with it. And then people were like wanting to buy it. So they said, "I guess we need to do a rum distillery," and put all her great creativity to work. So that's how it got started. When I was researching going there, they have a barrel age tour, which of course, all the lights were going off for me. I wanted to book that tour, but unfortunately it was in the evenings, and our ship would have been gone, and that's not going to work. We ended up getting the barrel age tour with Tony King, who's one of the owners, took us back, and he told us about his love of bourbon, as Wayne mentioned, and he had these charts where he had researched, let's just say he had Buffalo Trace on one page, Heaven Hill on another. He had researched the different bottles from each of these distilleries, what char level they use, what toast level, if any, how long they typically barrel age them, what part of warehouses they do that in. He made up all these codes, like this might be Buffalo Trace 1, and that might be E.H. Taylor 3, or something like that. He made up codes, and they're written on all the barrels, trying the different varieties of charring that you would do with bourbon. And that's just not really done much.
It's not.
In rum. If rum is finished in any kind of barrel, it's typically a used barrel from somewhere else. Either a used rum barrel or used bourbon barrel, things like that, but not new charred oak barrels. These rums are the darkest rums I think I've ever seen in my life, too.
Yes.
We just started pulling them off the shelf and pouring and tasting and having this massive conversation. It was just fantastic. And they were amazing.
Where she got into kind of the science of what was going on, I immediately started tasting it. My mind got blown because the very first thing I poured, it tasted like Glens Creek OCD 5. And at that point, my mind just locked because I'm sitting there thinking, this is just nuts. We are hundreds and hundreds of miles from Kentucky, 1,000 actually. And here I'm getting this hint in rum of Glens Creek. And that's really, my brain locked at that point.
Well, and the nerd in me started thinking, I asked the question, have you considered doing barrel exchanges with any bourbon distilleries? In my mind, you could find probably some craft distillers that might want to have one of your rum barrels to finish some bourbon or rye in. You could exchange that for perhaps a bourbon barrel to finish your rum in. And so my mind started working, who could we do this with? What's it make sense? Who can we connect him to? So we exchanged emails and we have emailed back and forth. And when we went to the chili festival at Glens Creek, we told Dave about it. And he's like, well, that's interesting. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute as we get into this bottle here. But we enjoyed the tour immensely. One of the things that I liked was they got their history, of course. We did some tastings in this room and saw some things that they do. But I think the coolest thing was when we went into the kitchen area. Mm-hmm. They had different volunteers from the tour come up, and one lady was basically cooking chicken breasts and rum. This other guy was making a cocktail with rum, and we were doing tastings of that along with the rum, whether it was the cocktail or the chicken. They also make gelato on site, and they were showing how they infuse these flavor, the rum, into their gelatos. That was pretty amazing too. We had a couple of those, and then there was another one that was a cake. It was some kind of dessert.
Yes.
Amazing. So that was a very interesting, full sensory kind of experience that I thought was really top notch there, and I would highly recommend this tour. And then you go to another room where it's their bottling facility. It's very small. They have huge tanks, but they have a very small, very manual bottling line. They're using like these handheld shrink wrap dryers to shrink wrap the bottle lids and things like that. So we had to see that. And then we went over to this area where they have basically rum on tap.
Yeah.
14 rums on tap. She'd call out, we got the watermelon ready, or this is jalapeno pineapple, or whatever it was. And so we went through 14 tastes. We figured we had, between the pre and the post and the during and whatever, probably 40 some odd samples of rum.
That's about right, including the stuff that the tour that we were with did not get because of the fact that we had met with the owner.
Now, of course, it's lower proof stuff. It's not like we're drinking 120 proof anything. And they were small little communion cups, and we were taking taxis. So we were safe about everything we were doing. But I loved the tour. I thought it was great. We weren't in a position to buy a bunch of stuff because obviously we only have so many bottles we can take back. So we bought this one bottle. Wayne was set on this bottle
the minute I saw
before we even met Tony or had our tour.
Yeah, the bottle, I saw it and I go, we are getting this bottle. My wife said,
I haven't tasted it.
I go, we're getting this bottle.
And it's the most expensive bottle they sell.
It was $65, I think, something like that. And the others were like 25 and such. But no, I want to buy this.
I go, we should taste it first. No, we're getting it.
Then the owner then afterward, he basically said it was a good bottle and he signed it for us later. Rebecca is going to go ahead and tell you the significance of Crazy Dave.
Yeah, let me tell you a little bit about it. So this is Topper's Crazy Dave Rum, and they spell rum R-H-U-M. It is a premium blended aged rum made at Topper's Rum Distillery. The mash bill is 100% raw cane sugar and molasses, all sourced from the Caribbean and distilled in St. Maarten. While it's non-age stated, it's a series of blended aged rum selected by Tony and Dave himself. This one happens to be at 95 proof, which is pretty high for a rum. The bottle was created to honor Crazy Dave, their most iconic tour guide, known for his corny but informative tours and deep knowledge of the blending process. Obviously, if you watch this at all, you know that we love Glens Creek and David Meyer. His nickname is Old Cranky Dave. So Old Cranky Dave, Crazy Dave, we thought they had to meet.
Yeah. And we did pour some of this for Cranky Dave.
We took it to the Chili Fest.
We took it to the Chili Fest, and he liked it. And we took a picture of him with the bottle, which my wife will probably insert the picture right here. He really enjoyed it. Vicky really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Actually, everybody at the table really liked it.
Everybody enjoyed it. And then Wayne, you posted on Facebook to introduce Tony to Dave and say, hey, let's meet one another. Here we go.
Crazy Dave, this is Cranky Dave, and he is enjoying your bottle.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and try this.
A real taste this time.
A real taste this time. and I don't think I'll be disappointed. I'd be shocked if I was. And if I am disappointed, I spend $65.
They have a barrel sitting there with a bottle of this on it, and they have all the spices that are included, and they're like 15, 20 spices. Our next episode, we're going to talk about going to the Academy of Rum, where we had to select things to flavor our rum with. So I can't imagine using that many spices and getting it blended right, but I remember it being pretty good. It's sweet. You can tell it's a rum right away because it's got that kind of molasses thing happening on the nose.
Yeah, it's very sweet on the nose.
You've got some nice spice notes coming forward. I took a picture of some of the spices. I don't know if it's hard to tell what they all were. You can't see all of them, but I'll put that up here while we're talking about this so you can see some of the spices that were included.
I'm getting sort of a fruitiness with it. I'm not sure what fruit. Because if there's a word to describe this, it's very bright. This is certainly not dark in any way. It is very bright, which you would expect from a rum.
It has kind of a tropical fruit kind of feel to it. And look at those legs on this. That's really nice, thick legs.
Yeah, I have a really nice rim, and I have a lot of legs coming down. I don't remember what you said the proof was on this.
This one's 95.
95. And
Most rums are 80.
Yeah. A fruit component with it.
I know they have like peppercorns in it and things like that too. We're not rum experts in any way, shape, or form. We don't claim to be bourbon experts, but we've had a lot of bourbon. We've not had a lot of rum. We did do some rum tasting when we were in Punta Cana a couple years ago, but we don't have a lot of rum experience. But I do find the Caribbean rum is really good. And their rum has won year after year after year the USA Today Best Caribbean Rum.
Yeah.
They had a room, he goes, I can't even put up the plaques anymore.
Yeah.
Because they had so many awards for the best rum.
Well, the building itself used to be part of an old carousel. And this building ended up coming up available for sale, and they jumped on it.
It was right across the waterway from where their restaurant was.
Yeah. So basically, you can pull up a boat there and come up and eat and then drink. And the carousel they ended up donating to the airport, which is close by.
And then the big carousel, the round area, which sits on the water, which is lovely, that's where they have their restaurant now.
Yeah.
And their bar. So
Cheers to Topper's Rum.
and Crazy Dave.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. I like this. It has some really popping pepper notes to it, which I think might have been one of the things we really liked about it so much.
It's very fruity too.
Sometimes rums are just a sweet bomb. They're so molasses and brown sugary. This one, it's got those fruit notes I found on the front of the palate. And then as it's going down the finish, I'm getting pops and pops of pink and black peppercorns.
I would agree in the peppercorn part.
It's nice.
I'm used to with bourbon, if I get pepper, it's either a white or a black pepper.
And it's got a really nice mouthfeel. I was telling you, the viscosity on the glass was terrific, and it feels great in your mouth. While it doesn't taste like a bourbon, it drinks like a bourbon. From the journey, from the nose to the palate to the finish, it has some of those notes you would get in bourbon, although it's a way different profile.
And I think one of the big differences with it as compared to bourbon, the flavors are much more pronounced. I don't want to use the word harsh, but they're very evident. A bourbon I really love because there's this smoothness. This is one of those ones, this is kind of a punch.
It's got some pop into it.
Yeah.
It's almost effervescent, especially on the
I would
finish.
agree.
And it's interesting because he's got these fruit notes happening, and then these kind of Caribbean spices start going pop, 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 pop. Just to say, I'm not just a sweet treat here. I've got some depth going on.
Yeah. Now, to my knowledge, I don't remember him mentioning whether or not Dave works there anymore.
I think he does. I think he's more part-time now.
Okay.
They said the longest standing tour guide to be there. But we did not see him there that day, which was a bummer. We would love to get a picture with him.
Yeah.
And I will say this about Toppers. We found this as we were leaving. They ship to the U.S.
Yeah.
They do recommend buying a case, and they ship it to you. I think it's $90 to ship. But if you're getting like a full case, it kind of makes sense all the way from there. And they had so many flavors. We were really vacillating on what to get. And we finally said, we've got more distilleries we're going to, and we're going more shops. So we just got the one big bottle.
Yeah. So we decided that we got some small ones. Yeah, the nose I really like. The more I'm getting into the nose, I really like the nose.
It was just really fun. I just think when you're in another country, even another region of the United States, you need to do a deep dive in what the culture is there and what people love there. That's why we made a decision before we left that we could have done your traditional tours on these islands. Since we're distillery people, We just felt like we wanted to really immerse ourselves in Caribbean rum. And I thought it was a great experience. And I hope you enjoy it. We're going to have 2 more shows about it.
I really like that.
This is really good.
And I think we will end it there. Crazy Dave, if you're out there, if the owner lets you take a look at this or if it pops up on your page, Cranky Dave up at Glens Creek really loved Crazy Dave. Really good stuff. And we really like it too.
And I also want to thank Tony King for giving us a private tour beforehand. Yes. And we look forward to staying in touch.
We hope to, and we hope maybe some of our friends can maybe work something with him to get barrels. Cheers to Crazy Dave, and cheers to Topper's Rum. If you like what we do, hit the subscribe button. Always remember to drink responsibly. Today, a little different, little Caribbean rum, and if you've got it, Topper's Rum. Cheers.
Cheers.